Welcome to Thrasher's podcast, Thrasher Opera House presents. Today I'm here with David and Ruth Wenzel, Thrasher patrons for a while. You've been to lots of shows here, and you are the inspiration behind this upcoming show that we've got coming. So, thank you for being here today, and thanks for all the support you give to Thrasher. And thank you for suggesting this band. So the band we have coming up is Yarn on September 9th here at Thrasher. And if I had to describe the band really quickly, which is hard to do because every band these days, you can't really box into like a teeny tiny package. But I would say they started out as like country with a touch of bluegrass, and over their 17 years of existence have merged more into like country rock, alternative, with a little bit of jam squeezed in there, sprinkled on top. But you all have heard them much more than I have, so I would be curious to know, how would you describe their music?
I'd say that's a pretty good description. I don't consider them a jam band per se. It's a singer-songwriters band, but it's more than just simple. It's more than just simple songs. I mean, they really groove as a group. They're fun to listen to. They can be very slow and light and quiet, and they can rock a bit. Yeah. We've seen them a bunch and never been disappointed.
No, yeah, they've had some personnel changes over the years, so they're still working on whatever their new groove is.
Yeah.
So we're anxious to find out what that is too, because they are a little different now than they were in the past. They lost their lead guitar player a couple years ago, and so I don't know if they have ever replaced him, but they have a bunch of different guest guitar players. So every time you see them now, it's different.
Well, and so many musical groups are like that. I think that's part of being a musician and being a band, is that evolution over time. I mean, if you stayed the same since 2006, how much fun would that be? Right. I mean, people are always looking for new things, but, keep a little bit of that old stuff you got, I think a lot of bands have that good mix of your old favorites, but then introducing you to something new, challenging their audience to be like, here's the next thing that we're going to do.
And I don't know what it is, but their songs just speak to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm never usually a fan of a band that only has one lead singer, but I don't know why, but their songs just speak to me, and they just.
And a lot of what I've read and listening to the many albums that they have, it's the songwriting that's really struck me,
right.
And must connect well with the audience. Mm-hmm. They write about real life stuff that they personally are going through, which relates, I think, to all of us in one way or another, right?
But even their darkest songs, with if you listen to the lyrics, are dark. They're upbeat and great tempo, and you would, if you weren't listening to the lyrics, you would have no idea that this was a really dark song.
Again, I think that's good songwriting.
Right.
They are a fun band. They really are. And I think it all begins with the songs and then the playing. I think he's a good singer. He's a unique singer. And we've seen them in bigger situations. We've seen them in tiny, intimate situations.
Mm-hmm. Blake is the lead singer.
Right.
And so one of the things I'm always interested in, as much as the music that they play on stage, is what they say and do in between the songs. And so the band Yarn is called Yarn because they spin a yarn. They tell a tale that their songs do, and I would imagine maybe in between the songs, introducing the next song, they have some interesting things to say.
I don't know, do they?
A little bit, but they really do, and that's one thing I've always found with the Thrasher, that they bring in acts that like to connect with the audience. Yeah. He loves to get out there and meet the people.
Yeah.
And he's not, they're not aloof. They'll get out there and talk to you, and
it's a perfect room for that, isn't it?
Yeah. In terms of banter from the stage, in between
they do a
songs,
little, not a lot.
There's a little,
but the yarn is in the song itself.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think if you encourage them, they'd be happy to tell you. Although some singer-songwriters are not willing to tell you the origin or inspiration for the song, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's good that there's maybe a little mystery, right?
Yeah,
When
and
you
I've
do it.
heard that
Oh, yeah.
they've got some new music coming out, so hopefully we'll hear some new material too, which would be wonderful.
Why is it that you wanted them to come to Green Lake? Because it was like, I don't know, 2018 or so, and I
been bugging you for
remember
Yeah, we
years.
started
you guys
pestering
saying,
you. Yeah.
Yarn, you got to bring this band Yarn, and we're finally making it happen here in 2023. What? Why? Why Green Lake? Why
Well,
Yarn?
I think Thrasher regularly features really good singer-songwriters or singer-songwriting bands. I think this community, even outside of the Thrasher, likes and appreciates good music. And of course, the room is terrific. Every event is just wonderfully produced. The sound is excellent, and they're a good fit for all of those features. Yeah.
Thank you. We're doing something a little bit different for this show. We have some cocktail tables that you can get and sit up towards the front. And then we have our regular row seating in the back, although I say the back, but that's like 11 rows back. It's still a pretty tiny place. There's not a bad seat in the house, but if you do want your own little space, your own cocktail table, that's available. We don't do that all the time. That's something special we're doing just this weekend. And also, you can go to the chili cook-off before you come to the show.
That's right.
Which is another
Right.
fun thing.
And our other favorite band is playing there, Cannonball.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they've played together a number of times, interestingly.
Has anyone told them this is happening? That
Well,
they can-
Cannonball knows, and I think Yarn does too. We told them.
Yeah.
We'll make sure
So-
they get this podcast and then they can connect on that. Okay?
Yeah, and I think Cannonball is planning on maybe having Blake come up and sing a couple songs with them from the stage at the Chili.
Oh, that's something I didn't even know.
Yeah.
You first heard it here, folks. Go to Chili Cook-Off for that, and then come to Thrasher for the song.
Chili's great.
The chili's great. The chili's great.
And I believe one of the band members is going to be a judge at the.
But at least that's
at
what I
the
just
Chili
read in the
Cook-Off.
newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
So-
You guys are
Which
filling
they
me in on
frequently
this
do.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
They frequently do.
And
when
the
they
one
have an
good thing
artist
is, there's a huge following from Cannonball, from the Chicago Berwyn area, and they all like Yarn too. So I think a lot of them are coming up. So we're so excited to
That's
see all of
good.
our old friends that we haven't seen in a long time.
You can make a whole weekend out of it. Special thanks to you guys, not only for being here today and talking to us about Yarn, but for sponsoring the show as well. The community support Thrasher gets and sponsorship is very important in being able to bring these nationally touring acts to our small little place. And a shout
Our
out
pleasure.
shout out to Heidel House and Goose Blind too for also helping us out this weekend. Tickets are still available. You can get them at thrasheroperahouse.com. And we hope to see everybody at Yarn on September 9th.
Come on.
Yes, come on out.
Thank you
It'll
guys
be
again.
fun. Thanks for having us. We're flattered.
Yes, thank you.